Ooh, baby, it's the team builder for week 5 of the PTL against Salty Jack and the Molokai Marowaks. Very Hawaiian sounding team. You can guess where he's from. Hopefully that's not like secret information. So this week we are facing against Salty. I don't know what his record is at this point. He's not behind on battles. I'm ahead, so like I can't just be like oh. But at this point I should be 3-1 plus 12. So there's a chance he's still undefeated. There's a chance he is also 3-1, I believe. So that's fine. Looking at his team, he has like a pretty decent team. There's a lot of like spooky bulk. There's a lot of speed there. He did really well in his speed tiers for the most part, especially with those top like four, where 135, 126, 115, 102. Those are like really good. There's not a lot of wiggle room there, but that's okay. So if you can see, I put Swadloon in green. The worst thing Swadloon can do is lead and try to get webs up. Well, spoiler alert, I'm not gonna let that happen. So the rest is just kind of like I'm pretty prepped for Ferrothorn, pretty prepped for Clefable. Buzzwole could be an issue, but it can only do so much to just my team. Like it doesn't have a good offensive, like it doesn't have like a good coverage matchup. Volbeat's always like a thing that could happen. You could always like pass things, stats. Suicune, Savali is orange because I literally don't know what it'll do. Like Savali is one of those things where you prep for it mentally once you see it. And you go, okay, what's this thing gonna have? Suicune, yeah, it's bulky, it's annoying. And then Talonflame and Azelf I think are the biggest offensive threats to my team. Nasty Plot, Azelf could really mess me up. If it like Psychic and Thunderbolt, you cover my whole team, and like Dazzling Gleam for Altaria, so that could be a real bad thing. It could also just like kind of be scarfed and get past special attack 2 or something. So and Talonflame, same thing. Sword Stance, Fire Flying is gonna cover my whole team as well. So those could be bad things. But just starting off, I am bringing Scarf Starmie. I was considering bringing. This is kind of a risk. I was considering bringing Psychic Starmie to counter Calm Mind Suicune. I don't see my team being very Calm Mind Suicune friendly, but like it's still definitely an option because at one at the other point like what the fuck is this thing called? Zera is my really only good answer to Suicune. So I mean he may just bring it and just like try to lure it in and shit. But I figured Trick Scarf onto the Suicune if the opportunity rises better, and then just having Starmie be scarfed, because I was looking at this team, I was like, well, I can outspeed a Talonflame if it's lost any HP, I can outspeed a Mega Manatric, I can, at the very worst, speed tie a scarfed Azelf, I can Ice Beam Garchomp, like it has a pretty good, it doesn't have a good matchup against his bulky guys, like obviously Ferrothorn, Clefable, Suicune, not really good, but I could trick those, so, there's options there. So I think Starmie will be okay, and then I just have Psyshock, Ice Beam, and Hydro Pump. Psyshock to hopefully try to like break a Suicune sub if it does have Calm Mind. That's basically all that's for. Although I mean, if he has Calm Mind, he's probably physically defensive. I don't know, guys. I just don't. But yeah, so I don't have like Thunderbolt or anything on Starmie, so that could be bad. But whatever. So here we are bringing Zeraora again. Of course, why wouldn't we? Plasma Fist like ruin his team. The only thing he has is Garchomp and Ferrothorn, which I have Hidden Power Ice and Fire Punch for bulk up. I can bulk up on the Ferrothorn if necessary, because it's gonna like Power Whip me or whatever. So like maybe a Power Whip plus like Rocky Helmet and Barbs could take me out, or if he's Akka, he can take one punch. But like I don't really care. There'll do his job. If Suicune is handled. If I know Suicune is going to be handled, I can be more aggressive with this thing. If not, I'll need to keep it healthy, and then just have the Electric MZ to Gigavolt Havoc something to death if I need to. So it's pretty straightforward set. So now I have Celesteela. It has 3 attacks and Leech Seed, so I'm not running Protect because I need the coverage. I have Energy Ball because if he is just sub Suicune, then there's basically there's very little situations where an Energy Ball won't break his sub. And if he's not, well, obviously if he's not Calm Mind, then I'll have Flamethrower for the Ferrothorn if it comes in on a Leech Seed, and then I can leech the rest of his team. and then I can Heavy Slam anything else. So the thing is especially defensive. It's just so in case there's like a bad situation, I can take offensive Clefable and I can take Mega Manectric on as much as I need to. It does leave me open to Talonflame and potentially set up Garchomp. But like I said, I have Scarf, Starmie, or just regular Starmie. If you set up Garchomp, I know that either my fast guys can outspeed him, or I can just go into Altaria if he choices himself. So that's the thing. It's a pretty straightforward Steel set, just bulky Leech Seed attacks, no protect. Could be bad, could be good. So now here's Nidoking. I actually I think I did a mock for this battle, and I think I decided to lead Nidoking because I just looked at his team and it's like Mega Manectric, it's kind of Talonflame, kind of Azelf. That's kind of what the sash is there for. Garchomp. I was originally Shuka, so I could handle the Garchomp, but then I was like, well, if I'm going to lead, it might as well just be Sash. Savalli depends on the type. Drapion Earth Power, Suicune damage, Buzzwole, Flamethrower, Clefable Slut. This thing. My worst matchup would be him leading Suicune or a certain type of Silvally. So, it's. I think this will be my lead. I think I'm playing my lead ahead of time. I'm just gonna make him Sash because I'm leading. I was gonna be Sugar otherwise because then I could come in on a Garchomp. But if Garchomp's like Sword Dance or something, then ain't gonna Sugar's not gonna do shit. So and like I said, I'm bringing just like quick spoilers. Bringing Defog on Ontaria. So if this thing like needs to stay Sashed for whatever reason, then whatever. I got distracted. That message popped up. Then I can defog hazards away if they're going to break Sash. So, it's just like Nidoking has a very good offensive presence here. It does not have a very good speed presence here, which is why I'm just giving it some bulk and making it Sash just to do it. So now here's my mostly physically defensive Altaria. This way it can take on Sword of Talonflame, Garchomp if it has to. Not really Drapion, but Drapion doesn't do that much. Unless Drapion Swords Dance and like Thunder Fang or Fire Fang. It could happen. I guess. Suicune is kind of like a roll because Suicune sub I can start hyper voicing it, but since I have Roost and Defog I don't have Toxic. But if I don't have Flamethrower, then I can't hit the Ferrothorn and it comes in on me every time. So it's kind of like an interesting thing. Altaria keeps running into this issue where it's like I want 2 offensive moves and then I want like 3 to 4. Like I want Roost, Defog, Toxic, and Heal Bell every game because those are just really nice moves to have in the back. But I kind of have to pick between them. Because I'd rather have a chance to hurt something that is in on me before I just have to switch out and then it's I'm heal belling, but I'm gonna die now. Great, So that's the thing. It's more physically defensive, like I said, because Celestial is especially defensive. Maybe I should make some. It's really tough when I'm building Altaria and Celesteela because I keep wanting to make them kind of mixed and bulky on either side, but I've definitely seen that work horribly not in my favor. Because I go, Celesteal. I did it with like a Muck once, I think, where it's like, Muck has like 100 in defense and a bunch in HP, and then I got like 80% knocked out, like 80% HP hit from an Earthquake from a Pilot Swine. I was like, well, fuck me, So like stuff like that can happen. So it's not great, and I want to try to avoid it. So I'm more into physical defense, but like I said, I can take moves from Mega Manectric. I can sort of take moves. I can take a move from Azelf probably. Savalli, I don't know. Savalli, I wouldn't expect Savalli to come like poison because he just has a Drapion there. Savalli could come. I really don't know what Savalli. I don't think he'll want to bring Savalli in this one because like usually what happens is like I don't have like a good offensive or defensive type, so it's like a defensive water would match up really good. Well, he has Suicune, but an offensive water would match up really well. Then he'll want to, he could bring Savalli as a water type, so it's like it can cover those types that you don't have in either defense or offense. But I feel like his offensive threats and their typing is good. He doesn't need like, I need an offensive fairy here. Like maybe, but like I wouldn't see him running an offensive fairy here. But he could, he doesn't need a ground type for Zeraora because he has Garchomp. And he's just like all this thing. I don't like Silvalli's matchup here, but he still might do it. But I don't know. So now here's the last one. I'm actually bringing offensive Arcanine this time. I'm keeping the Z move on Zeraora, but here's just kind of the thing. Having a Life Orb Extreme Speed to hit things on his team can be really good between Manectric, Talonflame, Azelf, and potentially Garchomp. I can get decent chunks on those if I need to. Valiant Drapion at worst it'll be speed tie. I can like if Arcanine is defensive, Suicune shits all over it. If I'm offensive, at the worst I can force him to stay in and die, or force a bunch of switches between Suicune and Ferrothorn as he tries to whittle me down with like Wild Charge, Flare Blitz, Life Orb damage between those, and then I'll have to make a prediction or something, which isn't the worst case scenario, or I can just Morning Sun, as I expect him to switch. So that's definitely a thing. But I just kind of like offensive Arcanine's matchup here. I could bring close combat, but I don't need it because the only thing close combat hits is Ferrothorn, which I have Flare Blitz for besides like the recoil damage. So yeah, so Morning Sun will help me if Suicune and Ferrothorn are being swapped between each other. If Ferrothorn's in on me, I can always Morning Sun as he tries to potentially go back into Suicune. So I don't know. I mean, maybe like someone sees this and goes like, I don't like its matchup or something. But it's like it could take a hit from anything besides like Garchomp and fire back if it needs to. If Azelf hasn't Nasty Plotted or Talonflame Swords Danced. I mean, I do have Intimidate to mess up a Garchomp because Garchomp could be Z Fire. So maybe a thing where it's like Celesteal is in on it, and then I Leech Seed him, and then he Swords Dances, and I go, okay, well, worst case for me, he Stone Edges, and I get kind of fucked. Best case, he goes for Fire Z, and I switch into Arcanine, and he loses some attack, and I can he's taking a couple turns with Leech Seed now, and I can Extreme Speed. I don't know. It's just I think offensive Arcanine will give me some good pressure on him, even if it doesn't get 3 kills and fuck him up. I think it'll be good. So that's my team. Like I said, I did one mock and I did really well in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means my team handles obvious generic builds and sets. So I'm gonna bring Metamanectric with Thunderbolt and Volt Switch and Flamethrower and HPI. So I'm gonna bring Suicune with sub, Toxic Scald Protect. I'm gonna bring offensive Clefable to try to catch stuff off guard. I'm gonna bring Ferrothorn to set up patch. It's like I can handle the things well. It'll be weird stuff where like set up Azelf could catch me. Like setup is gonna catch me off guard. That isn't Garchomp. But like I said, while they're setting up, I can hit them and bring in Extreme Speed if I need to. Potential Volbeat could really mess me up. I don't know what I'm thinking about a Volbeat, but like, a Volbeat could show up. Just stuff like that where it's like maybe Buzzwole will do more than I'm giving it credit for. If he's like sub bulk up, then he could but still outspeeds Altaria, and then he's sub bulk up Poison Fighting. I guess does mess me up. Just like stuff like that. Could definitely happen. So it depends on how he builds. It depends on because I mean my team's getting pretty predictable at this point. If you haven't noticed, Zera, Celesteela, and Altaria come every time, and then the other 3 are just kind of a mix of like what was a good matchup. So basically, someone could probably look at my team, build for those 3, and then be like, okay, what are my obvious threats to those 3, and what will he bring to counter it? But like I don't know if that works. I like it's hard to double perspective yourself. This is going on with Dylan, but it's hard to say what do I think I'm gonna bring, and then you can only go so far. So like I said, this is another one where I built for most of his team. I haven't predicted things specifically, but I'm at least mentally prepared for what I think could come, like a setup Azelf or Talonflame or Volbeat. So and the rest I think I have covered pretty well besides the ones in orange. So that'll be it. Battle will be coming up whenever. We're still in week 4. This is week 5 that I'm recording this for, so I'm ahead of the game. I have time, so I'm recording now. So thanks for watching up to this point, and get the battle to you just about now. Ooh, baby, here's the battle. Real quick, let me adjust something. Back when I did the team builder, I had forgotten that Salty PM'd me that he was going to make trades, but I was recording that back during early week 4, so... or maybe before week 4 had finished. Whatever, I don't even know. My brain doesn't work. So he has Rapidash instead of Talonflame. He made another trade that it didn't come to this one, but I thought in the moment, I was like, oh, well, Rapidash is pretty similar to Talonflame, fast and offensive, but I figured, well, Rapidash doesn't have the flying move besides, like, Bounce to cover my team, so I figured it was kind of better, but also, like, similar, still kind of a threat. But Altaria should be able to handle it, kind of, at the very least. They have trouble hitting each other. So whatever, my plan was to lead Nidoking. I determined that besides Suicune and potentially the Silvally, depending on the type it was, which I did not know and I did not prep for. It would be a pretty good matchup. So let's see how that worked out. I go Nidoking, and he goes Suicune. Oh, fuck. Well, early on, it's just like, okay, I'm not going to risk breaking my sash, getting out sped, doing whatever. I'm going to go into Starmie, see what he wants to do. He could have substituted there, but that's fine. I have a trick that I'm going to trick right now. No waiting for that. So it is kind of bad because if he has a Scarfed Rapidash or Garchomp, I can no longer outspeed it. But good news, I have a Scarfed Ferrothorn, which is great for me. So he doubles into Suicune as I go into Celesteal, and I have the Energy Ball to hit this thing. So I do break the sub, which is good for me. So here, I was thinking I can go for Elite Seed, I can go for Energy Ball again to get damage off. I decide to Leech Seed. In hindsight, maybe an Energy Ball would have been better, just to be safe. But either way, I have to get out of here. He's going to double himself into Suicune as I go into Altaria. So that's fine. This is a free Mega for me because Suicune can only do so much. It might Toxic Bank, it might do something. So I'm going to Hyper Voice, and it does a decent chunk to this Clefable. I figured from the damage it's probably more physically defensive. So I'm going to go into Nidoking in case he wants to Moonblast, do whatever, and he's going to knock off my Sash, simultaneously breaking it. It's kind of redundant, but it does give him more damage that he knocks it off. So I'm going to predict nothing and go for an Earth Power because I figured it was safe, and it's pretty much the same damage as Sludge Wave, so it's fine. So I have to switch out again as he goes for a Scald. So we're kind of playing it safe. We're kind of switching around. We have switches for everything. It's pretty straightforward so far, but here I'm going to go for a Psyshock just in case he subs and I can break it. So here's something I did not expect Pursuit here, and I saw he was Silvally Ghost. I could have Hydro Pumped and it would have left me in a great position, but now Starmie is like dying to death, so that's not great. In case he gets rocks up with something like Ferrothorn or Clefable, I do have Defog on this Altaria. So it's not like a huge deal, but Starmie has like lessened survivability now. So he is going to get rocks up, so I know that Altaria has to come in before Starmie can, so that's fine. I'm not going to... Well, okay, I go for Sludge Wave as he predicts I go to Garchomp. I could have Ice Beam there and won the game pretty much, but you can't always really do that. So he's going to Earthquake. He's going to do a little less than half. So I know he's pretty offensive. I'm thinking, I was worried he was going to have a Z move there, because Garchomp and Rapidash are his two Z move users. So I get screwed by the double. And as I go into Celesteal, in case he had Z Poison or Z Ground or something. So I wanted to keep Altaria alive, and I knew I could roost up on probably just the Ferrothorn or the Suicune or the Rapidash. So Rapidash shows sub here, and he shows high horsepower, which is bad. I kind of wanted to go for any sort of move here, but I just go for Extreme Speed. I could have doubled into whatever, but I figured it would be worth it to get damage off on something, and I didn't think Ferrothorn would come in there. So it's okay. Garchomp is pretty low now. I bring in Zeraora, but then I'm like, well, let's scout for the Scarf here, because if he stays in Earthquakes, I know he's Scarfed. So there we go. 100% Garchomp is Scarfed. That's good for me. Here I can do basically whatever. I can Leech Seed. I can Energy Ball. So I do go for Leech Seed. He goes into Ferrothorn, and basically I'm expecting him to potentially predict the Flamethrower or not be able to hit me well. So so he would either go into Rapidash or stay in. So now I can Roost here. Rapidash, I figured, besides a really strong Z move, couldn't really take me out from that range. So I am able to Roost. Here, I believe I defog in on the Clefable because I'm ballsy like that. So that's a good play for me. I get rid of the rocks, and Suicune is in here. So I'm just gonna... I've seen sub, I've seen Scald. I've figured I can just Hyper Voice, especially if he subs, and I get a crit here. The crit didn't matter, especially because I know in hindsight he doesn't have Protect, but two Hyper Voices would have KO'd from that range. I mean, I left him at 9%. It would have been fine. So he's just gonna Scald. He didn't have anything to do. So Suicune goes down, which is great for me, annoying Mon to deal with. So now he's going to go back into Clefable. I could Hyper Voice, potentially 2-hit KO it, but he's just going to get rocks out, which is a good play for him. With leftovers, I figured I couldn't anyways. So now I can go for an Earth Power here. No reason to Sludge Wave again. That Clefable takes a lot of damage, especially, and I don't think he can hit my Nidoking. So I can go, he goes into Silvally Ghost, I can 2-hit KO this thing with Earth Powers. But I go for Ice Beam just in case. I don't. It's just one of those things where it's like he knows I'm gonna Scarf. There's whatever. Just do it. So now he's gonna go into Rapidash. I don't have much to switch into this thing. I mean, I could have switched in Altaria, but I don't want him to sub and potentially me not break a sub with Hyper Voice. Oh wait, well Hyper Voice goes with them. Whatever. So I don't want to switch into two moves on Altaria. But here he shows Smart Strike. It does 29%. Does not do a lot. So I can reset damage back up. I can start defogging away his hazards. I can go for Hyper Voice for damage. I'm just going to defog again. So now I'm in a slightly bad situation because now that I've lost Nidoking, Celesteal is my only thing to hit this Clefable. But I'm going to go for Hyper Voice, predicting either Rocks or a knockoff. So that's good for me, but now I know he can heal up. So I'm going to go into Zero Aura because I still didn't know what his last move would be. So he shows Rocks, Moonblast, knockoff, and he does have Self Oil. So I know he doesn't have Fire Blast now. So here I'm gonna make some kind of interesting plays. So I'm gonna bulk up because I know that I can kind of fuck this thing up. And I was worried about Ferrothorn coming in, but I figured I would go for my Z Electric just to either damage Clefable to death or be able to kill this thing because I know I can kill this thing anyways. So here I'm gonna predict the Garchomp coming down the Fire Punch or the Rapidash. I'm going for HPIs. It doesn't work. He shows Bulldoze. It almost kills me. So now I know he's locked into Bulldoze. I figured he's gonna predict Celesteela to come in and go into Rapidash. But he actually goes into Garchomp, which actually, works pretty well for me. So now I can get Hyper Voice damage off on this Rapidash, which is great, and I can go for another Hyper Voice, which is also great. So I actually just Roost here because I thought he might try to damage me, and I didn't want to Hyper Voice and then Roost and stuff, whatever. So I know Celesteela now can handle this Clefable. As he goes for knockoff, good play on his part. I'm not trying to take Moonblasts. So now he gets Rocks up again, which is bad, which now means Starmie is in death range of Rocks again, and I Heavy Slam and does a ton. So here I'm going to Flamethrower, predict the Ferrothorn to come in and get a free kill. And as you saw in the team builder, if you watched it, I'm max special defense Celesteela. So right now I'm feeling pretty dumb about that because I'm like, well, he has a Clefable that can't touch me, Garchomp, and whatever. So now I'm like, okay, well, I need to go into Altaria, and here I get burned. So I'm just gonna pause it there. So I'm at 65%. I said, okay, the last Smart Strike didn't do a lot to kill me, or it did like what, like 30%, if that. It did less than 30%. So I'm like, okay, if he Smart Strikes here, it's like if he Flurry Blitzes again, trying to predict something, or if he tries to sub, I can kill him with Hyper Voice. I can Roost off the damage, or I can defog. Here. Now, I kind of, the burn made me throw. I'm being completely honest here. Like, this is like a mistake where I saw the burn and I was like, oh god, my longevity, like, and now I can't 1v1 Clefable if I was going to try to, and like, I just like, for some reason the burn, I was like, I sentenced this Altaria to death, and I also kind of forgot about the Hyper Voice damage from earlier, so I thought, I just clicked Hyper Voice thinking it would kill this Rapidash, or if Clefable wanted to come in right now, which I thought Clefable had like a very good chance coming in, I would get a lot of damage on that and potentially to KO it on the range it's at. So I should have defogged here first and foremost, and I really should have just roosted either one, because if I roosted, I could have defogged on the Clefable if it came in. If I defogged, I could have served, whatever. But here, I'm going to go for Hyper Voice, and 100% it is a misplay. He Smart Strikes here as a smart play. It does 30%, so it is a little bit more than before. Hyper Voice barely doesn't kill, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can live another Smart Strike before I die to burn and defog, but here he shows he was Z, high horsepower, so that's going to kill me. I doubt that was a roll based on the Z move proportions. So now I can go into Zero Aura, I can HP Ice for free because it's not going to matter, but I just decide not to risk Clefable coming in because he doesn't need it anymore. So now I'm screwed. Starmie can no longer come in, and now Zera can no longer come in because I didn't defog there, so I'm in a really bad position. He shows he has Fire Fang, so I'm going to go into Celesteela. Obviously, I need to basically, here's my plan here. So, Jet Jaguar, Heavy Slam, if he's like 0 bulk, was like a roll to kill. I don't even know if it was in my favor, and, 2 Fire Fangs will kill me. I looked up, I was like, if he's basically max attack, Jolly Nature, Fire Fang with a leech, with a Leech Seed calc with my set was like a 2% chance to hit KO, and I was like, okay, so that means I should be able to live that with Leech Seed with a little bit, like the rolls are about like maybe like 20 HP, so I'm like, okay, so I can live like, if rolls are in my favor, I can live with a decent amount of HP. If they're not, then I'll still be okay. So I figured I figured he would probably have bulk anyways. So the heavy slime may have not even been a roll. So I decide I'm gonna leech seed here. I don't have protect, or I have heavy slime, flamethrower, energy ball. So he's gonna go for a fire fang, and it does 41%, which was like, well, it was like not high. I think max was like 43. It was like 37 to 43% or something like that. So I was like, he had a decent roll here, and now it's just a 38, which is like slightly. So he had a slightly below, slightly above average. Energy ball kills him, and brings me into 9% range. So here we go. Rapidash has sub, ground move, smart strike, and flare blitz. Now, if he flare blitzes, he's gonna die to recoil. He has no health left. If he smart strikes and it kills me, and it doesn't kill me, I win. As it turns out, I am the HP Celesteal is currently at. Let's just play the battle. This is a guaranteed OHKO from smart strike. I needed if I had like 3 more HP, I think I won the game. And if I had like 2 more HP, it was like a 50% chance to win. So, yeah, we lose. It was an extremely close game. It was really well played on both sides. Like I said, like literally just that burn on Altaria. I'm not blaming the burn. Like the burn didn't cause me to lose. My play because of the burn caused me to lose. So I choked away a win, which sucks. Because had I just roosted or defogged, that means Zera would have had switches left, Starmie would have had a switch left, and Starmie would have come in. It would have been a very, very similar situation, especially if I defogged and not roost, because if I roosted, then Fable might have started to come in. So, had I just defogged and then let him kill me, then Rapidash is at higher health, but then I have 2 things that can kill it. So, it was a tough loss. Like I said, it was my reaction to like minimal bad luck that like made me throw. So it was my fault. It wasn't the 10% burn chance lost me the game. I lost me the game. But it was a really good battle. So Solid Jack remains undefeated. So far, him and Gray at this moment are the 2 undefeated teams. So those are my 2 losses. Does that justify it? No. Both of my losses have come to misplaying with Altaria near the end of the game. Not great. It was a much better battle than week 2. Week 2, I was just like, this is stupid. This one, I was just like, I'll chalk it up to bad luck, but like it was an in the moment play. So that's it. We're now 3-2 plus like 11 or something. So we're still like locked into 3rd place by differential alone. I don't know if there's any other 1-loss teams yet or remaining. There might be, but I don't know if they've played week 5 yet. So whatever standings. I can't throw in anything, but whatever. So that's the battle. It was a tough loss, but a good battle. So we're gonna hold our heads up for next week. We face DFP. I believe is also 3-2. There's a lot of 3-2 teams right now. A lot of 2-3 teams. A lot of make or break situations gonna be coming up, and DFP is kind of a tough matchup. So that 2% the Rapidash staring me in the face, mocking me. Thanks for watching. Catch you next week for week 6, baby.